By the time the lobby doors unlocked sometime in the early morning, I already knew two things. The break room coffee still tasted like apology, and Riverton Trust Bank loved rules more than it loved people. The dress code handbook sat behind the teller line like a holy book that only got opened when someone needed to be punished. I adjusted my uniform jacket, the approved style with sharp seams and a little shield pin that was supposed to make me feel noble. In reality, it made me feel like a walking brochure. I had paid to get everything tailored because if I was going to be judged, I wanted the verdict to be undeniably petty. Mid-20s, bank teller, fast hands, faster brain, and a smile that customers mistook for harmlessness. It was not harmless. It was a hinge. I could swing it open into friendliness or shut it into steel. I settled into my station and started the day the way I always did, greeting regulars, balancing my drawer, pretending that overdraft fees were not a moral choice. The lobby filled with its usual orchestra of sighs and small talk. Then the air changed. Darius Trent, the chief executive, strolled in like the building existed for his convenience. His suit looked expensive in that irritating way that suggests it never endured a spilled latte or a budget meeting. He drifted toward my window, not in a hurry, not with a purpose, but with interest. He leaned closer, lowering his voice like we were sharing a secret. "That uniform looks great on you," he said. "Very polished. Very you." There it was. A compliment delivered like a coin dropped in a tip jar. The kind of line men use when they want you to feel selected. I kept my expression calm and my tone crisp. "Thank you, Mr. Trent. How can I help you today?" He smiled like I had passed a test. "Just checking on my people. Keep it up." And he walked away, leaving behind a faint ripple of stares and the weird sensation that I had been evaluated without agreeing to be on the menu. A few hours later, while the lobby buzzed and the line curled toward the brochure rack, an internal message popped up on my screen. June Kellen. Report to Human Resources. No greeting. No explanation. Human Resources never wasted kindness on punctuation. I walked down the hallway that smelled of toner and old carpet, the official scent of quiet power. The Human Resources office belonged to Sable Trent, the HR manager, who also happened to be Darius' wife. She had a glass wall, a wide desk, and eyes that could audit your soul. "June," she said, pointing to the chair, "we need to address your attire." I looked down at myself. Jacket buttoned, skirt to the knee, collar flat. Everything in compliance except, apparently, my existence. "Is there a specific issue, Ms. Trent?" She slid a printed memo across the desk like she was handing me a bill. "Complaint received. Your uniform is distracting. The fit is inappropriate. Your makeup is excessive. Your presence is drawing attention." My presence. Not my hemline. Not my collar. My presence. I read it twice because I wanted to be sure I was not hallucinating sexism in standard font. "Attention from whom?" I asked. Her mouth tightened. "That is not relevant. The bank has standards. You will receive a formal warning. Adjust your appearance." I kept my voice level. "This uniform is from the approved vendor list. I am within policy." "Respectfully," she said. "Respect does not override compliance. Make it less noticeable." Less noticeable. Like I was a stain. The office door opened behind me. Darius stepped in as if he had rehearsed it. "June," he said warmly, "can you step out? I need to speak with my wife." "Of course, Mr. Trent," I said, because I knew better than to hand them a scene they could label unprofessional. I stepped into the hallway and closed the door. Through the glass, I watched Sable straighten, then soften, her face rearranging into a private smile. Darius stood close, speaking low, one hand making a small, decisive gesture, like moving a piece across a board. When the door opened again, Sable emerged with a crisp nod. "You may return to your station, June. And remember, professionalism is not optional." I walked back to the teller line with the warning memo folded in my palm, smiling at the next customer like nothing had happened. Inside, a quiet decision clicked into place. If they wanted me less noticeable, I would become unforgettable. I tried to treat that first warning like a bad deposit. Log it, file it, move on. But paper can turn into prophecy when the wrong person keeps writing it. Soon, Sable Trent became a recurring weather system near the teller line. She drifted past my station with a clipboard and a smile that never warmed, always ready to find a new sin. "Your hair is too glossy," she said one day. My hair had the audacity to reflect light. "Your shoes draw attention," she said another day. My shoes were black, sensible, and about as exciting as a spreadsheet. "That color invites stares," she said, tapping my approved scarf like it was contraband. It was navy. Navy does not invite stares. Navy invites naps. I listened, nodded, and kept doing my job. Customers cared about fees, deadlines, and whether their cash was crisp. I handled chaos with steady precision, the kind that should have earned praise. Instead, I collected warnings like unwanted coupons. Liv Arden, the senior teller, leaned in while pretending to count deposit slips. "If Sable complains about your breathing," she murmured, "I will sign a witness statement." I almost laughed, which would have been written up as excessive joy. "I am fine," I whispered. Liv raised a brow. "You look like you are planning something. That is the only thing about you that is actually distracting." I did not deny it. I had started to see patterns the way I spotted counterfeit bills, tiny inconsistencies that told the whole story. And Darius kept appearing too. He found reasons to speak to me about nothing, like a man who believed the bank was also his personal stage. "You have a talent for calming people," he said after I diffused a customer who thought interest rates were a personal attack. "I admire that." "Thank you, Mr. Trent," I replied, eyes on the receipt printer. He lingered. "That jacket suits you. The cut is flattering." I kept my tone smooth. "The vendor list does excellent work." He chuckled and moved on, and within hours, my inbox held a calendar invite from Sable. Dress code counseling. In her office, she presented a fresh document with an official seal and a neat list of alleged infractions, as if she had discovered crime in my cardigan. "You have been warned," she said. "Repeated concerns have been raised." "By raised, do you mean by you?" I asked. Her eyes flashed. "Do not be clever. This is a professional environment." I glanced down, and something caught my attention. In the margin was tidy handwriting I recognized from internal memos. Darius handwriting. A note, small and smug, like a thumbprint. My stomach did not drop. It chilled. That was different. Dropping was for surprise. Chilling was for clarity. "So this is not about policy," I said softly. "This is about preference." She leaned back. "What I prefer is discipline. You will comply, or you will not work here." I signed the form because refusal would only feed the machine. I asked for a copy. She hesitated before handing it over, and that hesitation felt like an accidental confession. Back at my station, I opened the employee handbook, not to obey it, but to weaponize it. The dress code section was vague, like most rules designed for selective enforcement. I printed it, highlighted phrases about equal application, started a folder, then I started documenting everything. Vague timeframes, exact wording, copies of warnings, chat messages, requests for policy citations. Calm questions built pressure, and Sable hated pressure she did not control. A few days later, I found a note taped inside my locker. Reminder: modesty matters. No signature, no explanation. Just the kind of anonymous cruelty that expects you to swallow it. Liv saw me stare at it. "That is harassment," she said. "Report it." I folded the note into my folder. "I am building a case." Liv smiled, slow and dangerous. "Good, because I am building an audience." Near the end of the day, Darius hovered by my window again, voice low like he was offering a discount. Sable can be intense, he said. Do not take it personally. I met his eyes. I do not. I take it seriously. His smile faltered, then returned, polished. That is what I like about you, June. You are composed. I smiled back, polite and empty. In my pocket, the folder felt heavier. I had enough paper to start a fire. Soon I would decide what deserved smoke. My folder rode in my tote like a second heartbeat. Every warning made the stack thicker, and every calm request for policy made Sable tighter around the eyes. I started to enjoy that reaction, not because I enjoyed conflict, but because it proved she was steering by jealousy, not principle. I also added a rule to my routine: never be alone with Darius Trent. He paused at my window one day after watching me rescue a confused customer from the online banking app, which was designed by someone who clearly hated humanity. You should move up, he told me. Someone with your poise belongs in management. I kept my smile clean. I prefer roles with clear metrics. I can offer you clearer ones, he said. I can make things easier. I heard the offer beneath the words. I also heard the threat, because men like Darius treated boundaries like decorative tape. Whether it was a carrot or a shove, it was useful information. Liv became my unofficial bodyguard. If Darius approached, Liv drifted close. If Sable summoned me, Liv noted the vague time frame and watched me walk down the hallway. Witnesses were insurance, and I was tired of paying premiums in silence. Then I carried my folder to the only department that could frighten human resources: compliance. The compliance office sat in the back, away from the customer smiles and closer to the bank true religion: risk. Owen Rusk, the compliance lead, flipped through my copies without changing his expression, which was impressive because even my printer looked offended. Multiple warnings with no policy citations, he said. An anonymous locker note. A complaint memo that does not name the complainant. And margin handwriting that matches executive memos. I nodded. I asked for the complainant and was told it was irrelevant. Owen exhaled. Convenient. I do not want drama, I said. I want it to stop. Owen tapped the stack. Keep documenting. If the chief executive crosses a line, put it in writing and send it to me. I left with something rarer than hope: a process. The next step required bait, and I am good at bait, because every teller learns how to make people think a form is their idea. During a staff huddle sometime later, Sable appeared beside the branch manager, Callum Voss, and spoke with bright authority. We will be enforcing appearance standards more strictly, she announced. This is about professionalism and customer comfort. I raised my hand, calm. Which policy section applies, and how will it be applied equally across roles? The room froze. Even the air conditioner seemed to pause. Sable's smile tightened like a belt. June, we can discuss your questions privately. I kept my tone polite. I prefer written guidance for accuracy. Liv coughed, suspiciously like a laugh. Not long after, an email arrived from Darius. Not from his official address. From a personal one, sent to my work inbox, as if rules were for everyone else. I heard you challenged my wife. Bold. Meet me near the executive office sometime later. We should talk. I did not reply. I forwarded it to Owen and printed it. Then I sent my own message to Sable, Callum, and compliance. I am requesting written clarification of the dress code criteria being enforced against me, including specific policy language and examples. I am also requesting confirmation that this enforcement is applied consistently across employees. Sable response arrived fast, clipped, and furious. We will discuss in person. I replied with calm that felt like sand in a gearbox. For accuracy and transparency, I prefer written guidance. The next day, Sable cornered me near the vault door. Her voice dropped, sharp. You are making this difficult, she said. I smiled faintly. I am making it documented. Her eyes narrowed. You think paper will protect you? Paper is not protection, I said. Paper is proof. She walked away, heels striking tile like punctuation. Darius had stepped into the light. Sable had started to crack. Compliance had been copied. Now all I needed was one clean, undeniable moment. The kind that turns quiet pressure into consequences. And I was about to invite it. I refused to meet Darius Trent in a hallway like a secret. If he wanted to talk, he could do it the way the bank pretended to do everything: documented, witnessed, and painfully official. I replied from my work account. Mr. Trent, I am available to discuss professional concerns in Conference Room B with my branch manager present. Please confirm. I copied Callum Voss and Owen Rusk. Darius answered quickly. Conference Room B. Fine. Sometime later, I walked into the room with Liv Arden beside me. Liv carried a notepad like it was a ceremonial blade. Callum arrived a moment after, face tense, the expression of a man who had realized too late that his job involved human beings. Darius entered last, smiling as if this meeting was a favor he was granting out of spiritual generosity. His eyes flicked to Liv. I asked to speak with June, Darius said. I nodded. And I asked for transparency. Thank you for agreeing. He sat, fingers steepled, the classic posture of a man trying to look wise while saying something unethical. Let us be practical, he said. My wife has standards. You can make this easier by adjusting your presentation and your attitude. My uniform is within policy, I said. The issue is selective enforcement and retaliation. Callum cleared his throat. Mr. Trent, we should keep this focused on policy. Darius waved a hand. Policy is whatever keeps the bank safe. I opened my folder and slid out copies, one by one, like I was dealing cards. Here are the warnings. Here is the handbook language on equal application. Here is the anonymous locker note. Here is your email requesting an off-channel meeting. His eyes narrowed. You forwarded my email to compliance? I forwarded risk to the proper department, I said. Darius leaned back. You are ambitious. I respect that. But ambition needs guidance. I can protect your career. Protect it from whom? I asked. From consequences, he said. From being seen as difficult. Callum shifted in his chair. That sounds inappropriate. Darius' smile thinned. Do not be dramatic. June understands. I nodded slowly. I do. You are offering relief from a problem you and your wife created. For a beat, he looked surprised. Then his expression hardened, like a door locking. You are young, he said. If you play along, you will be rewarded. If you keep pushing, you will be corrected. Liv Penn's scratched. Callum's face drained of color. I let a small, sharp smile appear. Thank you for clarifying. I would like that statement in writing. Darius gave a humorless laugh. You are recording this? I pointed to the ceiling corner where the security lens stared down, unblinking. The bank is. Silence pressed in. Darius stood. This is a waste of my time. He left, the door closing hard enough to sound like a warning. I walked straight to Owen Rusk. I summarized the meeting, attached copies, requested the security footage be preserved, and quoted Darius' key phrases. I asked for confirmation of receipt. Owen replied soon after. Received. Preservation request filed. Investigation opened. Sable escalated next, dressed in concern. She issued me a final warning for insubordination and placed me on administrative review, as if my crime was refusing to be quietly cornered. But Sable made a mistake, and mistakes are the currency of revenge. She filed the warning in the shared system using a template that still contained internal notes. Liv, with senior teller access, saw the draft before Sable could clean it. Liv did not hesitate. She captured a screenshot like she was collecting a trophy. In the margin, a single line sat in plain text. Coordinate with Darius. Remove June before audit. Liv sent it to me. I forwarded it to Owen with a short message that felt almost kind. This looks relevant. Administrative review meant I was suddenly away from the teller line, but I did not panic. I organized my folder, wrote a clean timeline, and waited. Their own sentence had connected the dots in their own words. The bank loved rules. Now it had proof of breaking them. Administrative review sounded like a polite phrase for exile, like being asked to disappear with good manners. But exile has benefits. It gives you quiet. And I have always been dangerous when I am quiet. I built a timeline so clean it could pass an audit without blinking. Each warning, each locker note, each request for policy, each refusal to provide it. The off-channel email from Darius, the conference room meeting with witnesses and cameras, the preservation request, the template note that connected Sable and Darius in one careless sentence. Owen Rusk called and asked calm questions. I answered with calm facts. Callum Voss sent a brief apology that read like a man rehearsing how to survive the next committee meeting. Liv Arden messaged only 2 words. They are sweating. Not long after, Owen asked me to attend a meeting with the risk committee of the board. Nobody called it a hearing, but the long table and neutral faces had the right flavor. I walked in with my folder and my composure. One of those was heavier. A board member named Tess Marlowe spoke first. Ms. Kellen, we have reviewed preliminary documentation. We want your account. I gave sequence, not tears. I explained how a compliment turned into punishment, how policy became a leash, how anonymous cruelty appeared in my locker, and how my requests for written guidance were blocked. I quoted Darius' offer to protect my career from being seen as difficult, and his warning that reward came with obedience. Then I placed one page on the table. The screenshot of Sable template note. Coordinate with Darius. Remove June before audit. Silence tightened the room. Tess stared at the line as if it had grown teeth. Thank you, she said. Please step outside. I waited in the hallway, hands folded, looking at a framed poster about integrity that suddenly felt like performance art. Behind the door, voices rose and fell. A chair scraped. Someone spoke sharply enough to cut through corporate politeness. Owen stepped out and nodded once. Mr. Trent has been placed on immediate leave pending investigation. Miss Trent has been suspended. External counsel has been retained. Relief moved through me, steady and quiet. The weight of being doubted had been heavier than any warning memo. The bank moved fast after that, the way institutions do when reputation starts to bleed. A staff message announced leadership changes and mandatory conduct training. The tone was solemn, like the bank had discovered morality through liability. I received an offer in writing. Reinstatement. Back pay. A new role in branch operations under compliance, with a pathway into risk management. It also included a clause designed to keep my voice small. I called Owen. I will accept the role. I will not accept silence. That will complicate things, he said. I smiled. Complications are how you know you are touching the truth. The clause was revised. Confidentiality about compensation stayed. Confidentiality about misconduct did not. Funny how quickly a rule becomes flexible when the right people feel nervous. On my return day sometime in the morning, I walked through the lobby wearing the same approved uniform that had caused so much fuss. I passed the teller line, the brochure rack, the glass office that used to feel like a courtroom. Sable was gone. Darius was gone. Their absence was loud. Liv met me near the break room and handed me a cup of coffee. It tasted, for once, like victory. Tell me the best part, I said. Liv grinned. They replaced the dress code handbook. New title. I raised a brow. She leaned in. Standards of respect. I laughed, full and bright, and headed toward my new desk in compliance, folder still in my tote. Not because I needed it anymore, but because I liked the reminder. Revenge does not require shouting. Sometimes it requires receipts, witnesses, and the patience to let powerful people trip over their own words. I simply held out the paper and called it policy.